Asking all the big questions. Series of theories, series of theories. Asking all the big questions.
Hey up lads, I've had an idea about the podcast.
Series of theories. Asking all the big questions. Series of theories, series of theories. Asking all the big questions. Series of theories, series of theories.
Hello and welcome to Series of Theories, the podcast where we ask the big questions. Today's big question comes from our friend over there, Josh. What's our big question, matey?
Who is the greatest footballer of all time?
Ooh, the greatest of all time, the GOAT, as they like to say.
We wrestled quite a bit with this question because we were like, are we going to put Messi and Ronaldo in the question itself, or how are we going to compare them with eras? But we thought this was the better question.
It's better to broaden it, isn't it?
Keep it open.
Yeah, I mean, because there's been a lot of footballers in time, and there's been a lot of eras in football. So you've got to measure it on that era, what the football was like in that time, and how much they excelled.
Yeah.
Sort of a maths equation in this, isn't there?
Yeah, I'm terrible at maths.
Give us some names then. Give us some thoughts and players going through your head at the minute. I mean, Emil Heskey.
Definitely.
Yeah. Bentner.
Yeah.
Lord Bentner.
Lord Bentner.
Andy Reid.
Yeah. Damien Duff.
Forest.
Love old Duffy. I mean, you've got other obvious. We've got like Pele. We've got Maradona. We've got your Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And sort of the new schoolers, you would sort of Mbappe,
Haaland at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're getting there, on the way.
This is new school era.
Yeah.
Do you have time scales of these eras that you call them?
Well, the ones we got when we were alive, when we've been watching football, really, that's all we've got to reference on, isn't it? I've personally not watched loads of old football, but I think we can only judge it off what we know, really, and what we've seen. So there probably are going to be players that are from before our time and from years and years ago, even from like the 50s, 60s, 70s, things like that parents, grandparents would go, these are the best players, these are the best players.
Yeah, listening to us Muppets now, like,
oh, he just falls over all the time,
Yeah.
dive in. Oh,
That's what you'll get a lot of.
So you get a lot of that,
Yeah.
but yeah, in terms of who, I think we can only go with what we know, surely.
100%. I mean,
Nods to others.
My dad was a semi-pro footballer and he loved football passionately. I didn't follow him so much, but I ended up supporting Arsenal. So I was in the era of Vieira, Perez, Thierry Henry, Bergkamp. That was an incredible team. And I've been to Highbury to watch them quite a few times, and we're going back and forth. And it felt like a pretty electric time to be into football. But how my dad discusses football with me, it is constantly, it's a new game, lads, it's a completely new game, you can't judge it on this merit, it's something other to what he experienced. And he was really football die-hard fan, die-hard player. I've clearly watched, like you probably have on YouTube, best Pele, best bits and what they've done. And one thing I do love is that was in an era. Come on, Mike, you got this. But that was then when players were trying to kick them to the shit. They were trying to kick chunks out of him. Do you remember that goal, Maradona, where everyone's just flinging into him and absolutely trying to boot him? There's been a lot of goals like that. But
that one where he takes it round about 8 players.
Just keeps going, just keeps
going.
Was
that the one against us?
Then it was, wasn't it? And then past our goalie and then flings it in. But that's pretty special because when you've got that in mind, that even when I get past this player and this player, somebody's going to come in with a double footer or whatever,
and they'll probably get away with it as well.
That's it. So you've got that in mind. To play in that is kind of intimidating, but they just kept going and they wouldn't dive over, they wouldn't fall. But you know, in our time, watching Ronaldo, watching Messi, and just seeing them like the stats as well, they don't tell lies.
No, numbers are,
and what they've done is otherworldly. And I personally don't think we're ever going to see that again for a long time, because of what football's got to, and it's so tactical now. Everyone's so elite at the top level of performance, you're going to struggle to really rise above it.
A lot of goals are going to get ruled out now.
Yes.
I remember. So a lot of the goals Messi and Ronaldo possibly scored would have been on the cusp of offside, maybe.
Yeah,
but VAR would have ruled them out if it was now. So that's probably another factor that's going to be an issue going forwards, because How are you going to score as many goals if a lot of them are
Something
getting
else to
disallowed?
add to the maths
Possibly going to be an issue,
equation
isn't it? Yeah.
The other thing with them is their consistency as well. The fact that they've been doing it from Messi was 16 when he broke into the Barca team, wasn't he?
He
And
was,
Ronaldo was 18 when he
Have
signed.
you watched the video of him like as a kid?
In La Masia when he's running through
Got a little mop on his head, but just doing flicks over everyone's head. I mean, I've seen one where he goes past a kid, clearly could just keep running and go to score, but he does another little flick behind him, so he megses him, goes back round, gets it, just because he can.
taking the piss.
I mean, that's pretty special.
Yeah.
Go on. I know we're going to bring this up, so I'm going to go in now. Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi.
Really? You're a Messi man?
Oh, we have been. Yeah.
Messi man? Come on, Josh. Hit us with it.
Ronaldo, but I'll explain why after yours choice.
Okay. Can I be elusive with it?
No.
I was going to say that's why I've got an explainable answer.
you asked.
but-
I'm going to pick one. My favourite of all time is Messi, but I think the greatest of all time is Ronaldo.
Right.
Okay.
And that's
That kinda
where
makes
I'm at.
sense.
So yeah, my favourite of all. I'll go through mine dead quickly, but I love how Messi plays. I got the opportunity to see him train.
You're going to say play against?
play against him when I was doing Sunday League with Codner. Just came down, they had a player missing, he brought a pair of boots.
This guy looks like Messi. Yeah.
We went to see to Barcelona and we saw the training of them and then went and watched the game, and he just clearly head and shoulders above everybody. Incredible. It was just watch the Messi show on Phil, and he was 10 out of 10 on that game, and I remember that vividly. He's just got some skills that you can't imagine even attempting on a pitch. You can show your mates at the side of the pitch and have a laugh, but you'd never try it if you're playing a tricky game, and he can execute that. I like who he is, what he's about, but on my flip side of why I thought Ronaldo's the greatest of all time, for me, he's been all over the place. He's played in so many different countries, and he just looks like the archetypal athlete. And if I had my Sunday League team with a player down and I've got everyone on the bench there, I'd look at Ronaldo and think, yeah, you're going to put in 110%.
You could go anywhere really on the pitch with Ronaldo.
Yeah,
to be fair,
you're going to play in anywhere we put you, and you're going to either create the goals, do the tackling, just do everything. So I value him on that level, and that's kind of where I'm at.
Do you know why I picked Messi?
Go on.
Because he's natural, so completely natural. It doesn't seem like he's had to work any harder to get there. I'm a
for
massive
the steroids
champion
he
for
used
not
to
having
take
to
when
put
he
any
was a
effort in and be really good at something. That's great for me. So I quite like to think is, imagine if he was, because obviously Ronaldo, you can say Messi, Ronaldo's obviously worked harder, I would say.
I
and he's
believe so, yeah.
put more graft in to get to where he is. I think Messi hasn't had to.
You listen to
He's been that
interviews
good.
of his players he's played with, and they all say he stays for another hour, 2 hours after training.
He's the
and
first
just
one there and the
pinging
last to
balls
leave
in.
always.
Yeah. Carry on, sorry.
But no, that's mainly it, really. I think it's just a case that you can see Ronaldo's had to work a bit harder than Messi has. Messi's a natural with it. So I think, imagine if he'd put in the same amount of effort as Ronaldo's put in to get to the point that he is in, he would be head and shoulders above, surely, if he had put in the extra effort that he's put in. I'm not saying Messi's not done anything. Obviously, he has. Obviously, he's put in a lot of effort.
Could you imagine
see the
just
additional
downplaying
stuff.
that?
Yeah.
If you just tried.
He's not even tried. If Messi tried to be a
I
great
wish
player.
he'd just try. Well, go on then, Josh. Give us an idea.
I'm kind of with you on it, because I think Messi is an individually better. Like, what he can do with the ball is more impressive.
It's weird, isn't it?
But I think Ronaldo's achievements are more impressive. The fact that he's done it in multiple countries, on the world stage as well. He's won the Euros with Portugal. Messi's not come anywhere near a World Cup or
I feel bad for Messi when I'm watching him with Argentina,
Yeah.
because it's not like he's not trying on that pitch. You're seeing him flinging up and down, going and getting the ball in his box and pinging it over to his mate, and he fluffs it.
Yeah, but that's also the difference between them as well. Like Ronaldo, you know, when he got brought off in the Euro 2016 final.
Yeah.
He was injured, wasn't he?
Yeah. Cried, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. But then he just thought, I'm still going to have an impact on this game. Fuck off, manager. I'm going to go and tell
I'm
all
the
the players
manager
what to do. And he stood on the sideline and he was
Yeah.
basically coaching for the whole game. Messi, when he loses, he just goes off in a huff.
Yeah.
And so I think
completely
Ronaldo's
agree with that.
I think he's a better leader, and he's a more
I mean,
more of a team play. You'd rather have him in your team for that reason.
We're lucky that we've seen them both in the same league and on the same pitch so much, because we've seen what they can do. I love that game, Real Madrid versus Barcelona, where it went Messi scores, Ronaldo scores, Messi scores, Ronaldo scores. It's just like, whatever you can do, I will do. That was special. I suppose when you're measuring a player, you've got to kind of measure the teams that he's been in and the opportunities that he's getting. You know, when Messi's got all these assists because he's slotting it through to Suarez or somebody that can finish every time, so his stats are going to build up, and what balls he's receiving to
Xavi
get
and
these
Iniesta.
goals. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's got these players on, but then you can't really downplay who Ronaldo's
He was
been
at Real Madrid when they won multiple Champions Leagues.
That Real Madrid team was ridiculous.
Maybe it can't really come into the fact, can it, actually, as an argument, because let's just say they've both got incredible players alongside them. They're just so different. When I hear the argument being put forward and people argue in stupid ways, really, let's just say we're lucky to have seen them in our lifetime and what they're doing.
To have this comparison to make lucky.
It's incredible to watch. And in 100 years' time, 200 years' time, we don't know what football's going to look like or the world, but we are in an incredible place to have seen what they've achieved and what they've done.
I just think in terms of like art as well, because obviously you talk about football being an art, talk about it being whatever, something else scientific and that kind of thing, can't you? But I just think watching the way I watch Messi, I watch Ronaldo. When I watch Messi, I'm sitting there in awe quite often, like, wow, oh my God, how has he done that? Jesus Christ, what? When I watch Ronaldo, I'm like, yeah, that's really impressive, but it's a lot more direct. It's a lot more it's less frilly, let's say. It's less artistic. It's more direct to the point. I'm going to score a goal.
We've all played Saturday and Sunday league football and love football. If I imagine Ronaldo as one of my players on my Saturday teams, I play for OK teams, so you know you've got athletic lads on there. I'm not saying they're level of Ronaldo or Messi. What I'm saying is, I can picture Ronaldo in the team in one of my players, because we've got athletic, strong lads that just keep running, shoulder everyone off the ball, and the head and shoulders above the opposition. I've seen Ronaldo in some of the players in a low level, if that makes sense, in an amateur level, but I've never seen a Messi in my team, of somebody that can create such a wizardry on the pitch. And I just look over, because I'm right back, and my dad ingrained in me, and my philosophy in football is get it and knock it. So
you'd be knocking it to me. I was always right mid, so you'd be knocking it to me.
That's it. It's either straight down your line, somebody, your centre back, or somebody in the middle. You have three options, and I try to play that game the best I could. Now, when I knock it down the line to you, and I'm knocking it to somebody that I think is of low quality Ronaldo level in your low Saturday league football. But when I knock it in the middle and it goes to a Messi lad, I've never played with one of them. I've never envisioned him getting it, turning, taking on four players, knocking it again, and then swiping it in the corner. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fully.
It's a special trait and attribute and what he's brought to the pitch. So Messi, I love him in all them ways, and if I could pick somebody to watch, if we're allowed to football again, but to watch on the grand scale, I just want to see Messi do his thing at his prime again. But yeah, my Ronaldo thought is flipping neck. He's been all over, he's tried it all, he's done it all, and he's just fucking hard worker. Proper.
He's a grafter.
He's
a grafter.
I mean, to be fair,
he's United as well, and I can't in any good faith say anything nice about him.
Well, I mean, I took direction on the Messi and Ronaldo bit, but we have outlooked everybody else in between that. We've had that discussion, but do you think the argument only exists for them two of all-time greatest, or do you think there is other arguments to suggest there's better?
Yeah, there's other arguments.
There's plenty of people that would tell us that Pele and Maradona are up there.
Because Pele's stats are stupid as well, aren't they?
Weren't a lot of his without offside, though? This is when we talk about
it was a different rule. It was a different rule, wasn't it? It wasn't.
And
there was offside, but it was a different rule.
And the keeper could pick it
up. That was what a stupid rule that was.
So it was a different. Again, I think we're going through a shift now as well with all the VAR and all this.
Yeah,
stuff. I think we've gone from the old game And then we've had like the 90s and all that from then on, like 80s, 90s, all that, which was a bit more physical. Then the physicality is going out of the game, it becomes more foreign influence. And now we've got technology into it as well. It seems to be going another way. So I think we're having different generations of the game. So I'd say in our generation, I can't think of anyone. So in this last generation we just had before technology comes in, I can't think of anyone better than Messi or Ronaldo, really. Like, they're on a similar level, definitely. There's obviously levels just below that, I think. There are a lot of players who fit in that category just below, but yeah, I think then we have to start looking at the different generations. And if you're talking about different generation, 100% Maradona, Pele, those kind of players.
What your dad's thoughts on football and how it's going, and older generation, how are they receiving it in your eyes? What are they talking about in football terms?
Well, it's more just a case of, I hear of it more like, I mean, my dad would just talk about current day, really. He's not got a lot of kind of stuff. He used to like Spurs back in the day. So we talk about like Glenn Hoddle and things like that, who always said we're good players and things like that. But in terms of the best players, it's always Messi, Ronaldo. They don't even talk about other players, to be fair. Like the older people who I'd be around, like family, like uncles, dads, all that kind of thing. Like, they always just talk about Messi, Ronaldo more than anything. They will talk a little bit about like Pele and things like that, but they were a little bit before that time. So in between, you had like because my dad, what was he, 55 or some 56 now, something like that. So in between that kind of age is like the 80s and the early 90s and like a bit of the 70s. So I don't think in that period there was a lot of players going on, apart from maybe Maradona. That was really the one that was just
Bestie,
kind of out there, wasn't he? I think
George Best.
I think with Pele as well, the fact that he played the whole of his career in Brazil rather than in any of it in Europe. I think no one really knows how good Brazilian league football was back then. Obviously Brazilians who were around would have done, but we don't really have any sort of evidence to make that comparison. Yeah, this is it. Would he like Maradona though?
Cold night in Stoke.
But like Maradona played for Napoli and played for Barca, didn't he? And he smashed it for both of them. Like, I'm sure Pele would have done had he have gone to Madrid or Barca, but he didn't.
Counting goals he scored in friendlies and things like that. That's what everyone says, and that's caused a load of contention online, I think.
Santos went mental about that.
Yeah, people saying that but Pele just counted goals that he scored in training and things like that, or in friendlies, and that's why he got so many goals. He wasn't actually that good, and I don't think that's fair.
Definitely not fair.
Well, Santos came out.
There's a reason Brazil have got all them stars above their badge.
And he is a big part of that reason.
Well, Santos made a really passive-aggressive statement about it. It's like, it would seem that our European fans would consider goals scored in friendlies as less important than those scored in tournaments. And when you're looking at that, it's like, well, I suppose the fact that it was a friendly isn't really his problem, is it?
No.
So he's still bad.
And there's culture differences over there as well. Like, in terms of the football culture, you look at like the Club World Cup. The European teams don't give a shit about the Club World Cup. In Brazil, that's the biggest thing you can play. Like, that is the pinnacle, because you win. Is it the Libertadores or the Copa America, whatever it is? I can't remember which one it is, but you win one of them, and then you get into it, don't you? And that is seen as the pinnacle. And we send our reserves normally to those. Things like that. So different cultures.
I think the generation thing is important. I feel particularly lucky for what we've experienced. I remember I watched last night Ronaldo's first game for United.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
God, that was special. You knew something good was going to happen.
He was raw, that money as well.
He was raw. I think it was against Everton.
I think it was, yeah.
Yeah.
He was a bit Bambi on ice, wasn't he? Because he was a bit.
He was so ready to go.
Skillful.
He was just. Alex Ferguson put him on, and he just kept,
with his little blonde streak, wasn't it?
Yeah. Cutie. But I do agree. I think football had a little bit. I cannot not speak for them generations. I know I've only experienced this one, and I'm 27, so you get an image of that. But it had some working out to do with rules and what it needed to progress to. Now, the generation in which Ronaldo was at United for me, and we've got the Arsenal team and the United era and so on, that was really raw. But the rules were right for me, the play was right.
Yeah.
And you just watched Ronaldo stand out in particular in that league. Got the most goals, didn't he, in the season? So, yeah. And, I really love what that whole generation was about, for me, we've seen it at what I presume or see as its best in some way, because now you've put technology into the mix, the rules are getting a bit tighter, it feels a bit Americanized. I don't know if you feel that
forced,
in the sport.
isn't it? It's just losing a bit of its charm a little bit. It's kind of heart, isn't it, really?
I don't know how to describe it, but I also see it as more of a chess match. It's very tactical. They've got to the pinnacle of tactics, and it's just very thought out, and seeing somebody rise through the ashes and become the best in that, it is hard. And I suppose everyone just loves their era, but I love what that football was for me.
That's why I'm glad Leicester did it a few years ago. Obviously Leicester did it a few years ago, didn't they, where they just kind of came through from nowhere and managed to win a league, and it's like, will that happen again going forwards? Is that just going to be an anomaly as well? And I mean, going back to that Arsenal team you were talking about, the Invincibles, really, I would say that, for me, and if we're talking teams, I would put that up there with probably the best. I mean, look at this City team now, but probably the best, and the United team as well, up there with the best Premier League teams I think ever. I mean, you've got obviously Henry, Bergkamp, Vieira, Pires, Overmars for a bit at that time. There was Lumber.
Don't forget your Seaman.
Sol Campbell, David Seaman. They had an unbelievable team at the time. Sol Campbell.
Do you remember the Seaman save in the FA Cup final?
Oh
he scoops it out. Unbelievable. That's incredible.
That's ridiculous.
Next level. I mean, because for this podcast, I was watching Messi's best bits, Ronaldo's best bits. And they're so different as best bits go as well. You're seeing different attributes from them both. So that's hard to say. Would you have to say, for a best player, what about a World Cup winner?
We could go for just a World Cup winner because neither of them have done it, have they?
Exactly. And I'm just thinking, you've got your German team and your Brazilian team and so on, but what about somebody that's actually lifted the World Cup? Because neither of them have.
Mbappe. 19.
All he's got to do, though, if he wins the Champions League, he's won every accolade already. He's already won everything there is to win in France.
Well, he needs to come over to the Premier.
Oh, he needs a Euro as well, but, World Cup's more.
Yeah, they've done the Trump the Euros already with World Cup, haven't they?
Who've we got as World Cup winners of that generation in the Ronaldo and Messi era?
We had obviously the countries that won were Italy, Spain, Germany, and France. I think in that
you could argue Zidane
era,
you could definitely make
Zidane's up there, isn't he? That's a great shot. Oh, mate! Shout. I mean, they would have won that World Cup if he hadn't put him in the chest. What was that about?
What a way for your last game, though! Like your last game ever. World Cup
that took him up in my estimation. I like you more now.
Do you know what? I don't really give a shit about this World Cup. Have one of these.
That's one of the best things I've ever seen on a football pitch.
Because that French team was special.
Yeah, they were.
I was more, instead of FIFA, I was more of a Pro Evolution player.
I played both up until that point. Yeah.
Pro was an easier game. It was a bit more rigid. I don't know how to describe it, but FIFA felt like very soft play and they turned strangely.
Yeah, it was always a bit clunky. I found FIFA. I found Pro usually had the better gameplay, to be fair.
That was what me and my dad used to play
but
all
obviously
night
not have the registered teams or anything, so I used to get pissed off because I'd play as Merseyside Red.
But me and my dad would, I remember being 12, 13, but we'd stay up all night and we'd be on the same team. Do you know where you can join teams? And we'd go on the World Cup. I remember we'd stay up to like 4 in the morning. I don't know if I should be saying this, but
I wasn't at school the next day.
But I remember we used to dance around the living room when we won the World Cup. But I was always the French team, and I could know some of them players off by heart. But I mean, Thierry Henry.
I was going to say Henry.
He's got to be included in the mix.
He's one of my favourite players I've seen. Like, I think he's a bit of a dick himself. Like, I've heard about him, stories about him being a bit of a prick and things like that. So I've got a mate who's
you just play with him.
No, his dad installs air conditioning in like houses and things like that. I won't go into names or anything, don't worry.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, he's told me before, he's a Spurs fan as well, which is even funnier. So anyone who knows me has narrowed that down now, actually, so sorry. But but yeah, basically he said he went to his house and they got warned before he went in Mr. Henry doesn't want to talk to you, doesn't want to be spoken to, doesn't want anyone to talk to him, doesn't like people talking to him. So if he comes in a room, hide. Make sure you can't see you. Doesn't want to see you. Doesn't even want to see you. Just wants you to not be in the place. Yeah. So this is what I've been told as well. Like,
why didn't you go out for the day?
Actually, this is another thing. But so he went in the house anyway. Obviously, being a Spurs fan, he was like, "This is funny anyway," because I'm in a Arsenal legend's house doing his.
With his Spurs top on.
So and then essentially he just said that he's never been in a house with someone who's had so many pictures of themselves everywhere.
Really?
So it's just covered in pictures of himself all over the house.
You can imagine
it. He tried to talk to him in the lift. He actually got in the lift. Well, he got a lift in his house as well, obviously. So to talk to him when he got in the lift, and he was like, "Oh, you're doing your right, mate." Ignored, blanked completely.
Really?
That was it. So yeah, it's a
French
I've
thing,
heard he's a bit of a prick, but on the flip side, one of the best players ever that I've seen play football. One of my favourite players to watch playing, and he might not be a prick. He might be a nice guy. Like I say, this is just what I've heard.
Yeah,
I've heard this. Let's say it's not slander. It's not defamation. No, I've heard this.
Yeah, I was going to say we're not doing well, lads. No. First episode, copyright. Yeah. Second one,
arrested for slander. Henri sues us.
Can you remember that?
It'd only prove you're right, though. That would.
Yeah, it would actually, to be fair. So sue me.
Yeah. Don't start an Henri on this podcast. It's supposed to be lovely, this. Can you remember that handball he did against Scotland? Yeah. Was it Scotland? Ireland.
Ireland fuming about that still.
That was bad, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Clever though.
Yeah.
You got to give him it, because bounced up, flicks it back and totally fucking taps it in.
Yeah.
Oh man, I felt for them that day. That was unfair.
Yeah.
And that there we go. I mean, we'll probably do an episode on technology, but there's so many goals we can mention and think of where technology would have been handy there.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't go into the whole technology thing, but I kind of like the human error side of football back in the day as well. I think that's what made it big talking points. Match of the day was exciting. We could sit up, watch it, think about it. There's big talking points now, but
it's not got rid of the argument.
Dilute.
Really. No,
it's not. You think, okay, now he's offside. That makes sense. Yeah, but his hair was.
Should it be offside or should it not be offside? Do you disagree with the?
We definitely should do a whole podcast on technology in sport in general and what it's doing for sport.
Yeah.
If it's better in sport, but I really like what you said on judging the best players, but then considering the technology now, looking at the statistics, could a lot of goals been ruled off, a lot of offsides, a lot of over the lines? That's a good idea to take on board.
We could do a whole episode where we just look at old goals and go, that would have been offside, that would have been offside.
Yeah, we'll get
retally all the players.
That'd be quality.
Because I was watching Football Focus, Carlton Cole was on Football Focus, and he was saying, obviously he's not got a great goal scoring record anyway, and he was like, half of my goals probably would have been offside nowadays as well. My record would have been
Is
even worse.
Is he a Knots lad, Carlton Cole?
No, he's London. Yeah, he's from
my dad, it's funny
Andy Cole.
You mentioned Andy Cole, you mentioned Hoddle, didn't you?
Yeah.
I remember I went to the Vets game. Dad was playing for Heanor Town, but Hoddle was on the pitch for a Sheffield team. And again, head and shoulders above everyone. It was in the middle of the pitch, put on loads of weight, but still, you've got your touch,
pinging the ball,
and you just know exactly where your players are. And he stayed in the centre circle for the whole match.
That's what he used to do anyway.
Like Pirlo.
He'd just stand in there and get the ball, ping it over. It was special to watch.
My dad always hated Glenn Hoddle as a player for that reason, because he said he just didn't move. It was just frustrating.
When you've got a player like that in your team, though, it's good to watch. And it's so handy.
It's an important piece to the puzzle, isn't it?
Yeah. And but Andy Cole as well. He went to a five-a-side game, but he was a nice guy. I remember meeting him.
I've heard he's a nice player.
And my dad went up and just went, top man for doing what you do.
Yeah.
I think their team won it actually on that five-a-side team day. I used to love going and watching my dad's veterans team.
I bet it's alright.
It was so good.
Especially if you don't know who's going to turn
up. I think we went to the Sheffield United ground where they got to play on.
Or Bramall Lane.
Yeah. And I remember it was a horrible match. I was a young lad and we're all sat in the dugouts, and this player was really effed off with my dad, and he smashed the ball. There was all these kids sat in the dugout, and he just smashed the ball at all of us. I think he hit one of the little lads.
Wow.
Yeah, that's sorry to bring out the most random of memories, but yeah, veteran.
What happened then? Did he not get?
I think everyone started on that player. They're all running at him, ready to give him some. But
especially if you'd already got beef with your dad, then he boots the football at you.
He did. Saw all the kids on there, and absolutely, because the ball was going off anyway to throw in, and he just absolutely smashed it at all of us as it had just crossed crossed the line. It was horrible. But yeah, just thinking of veterans, but people that play professional, seeing them on a veteran pitch, they've still got it.
Oh, yeah,
whatever it is in the football brain, they've still got something there.
It's like when you watch Soccer Aid and that.
Yeah. I've been to see that at Man United.
It's one of my dreams is to play in it. I want to play in it one day. That's one of my goals in life still.
Cause it's one of them daft ones, isn't it? They've got Ollie Mers on the right wing.
He's always class though.
Yeah, he is so good.
The thing is, I suppose, when he had the pace because he was always up against like an ex-legend who'd probably lost a bit of pace. He just casually.
Was that lad from Love Island did John Terry, didn't he? Like absolutely rinsed John Terry calling in the corner.
Do you think Messi and Ronaldo are going to really struggle parting from this generation, this football?
I mean, more Ronaldo than Messi. I think.
Yeah.
He'll struggle with not being able to play football. He'll probably just become super fit, stay super fit, and just I reckon he'll push his son. He'll just start managing his son, being his son's agent, trying to get him.
I think I saw on Facebook the other day, but didn't he score like 12 goals?
Yeah, he's meant to be very good, his son as well. And you would be, because I imagine Cristiano Ronaldo is a very relentless man.
Yeah.
Everett said, didn't he, when he went round to his house, and Everett was like...
it's my birthday, you train now.
Yeah, Everett invited him round. Well, he invited Everett round for food, didn't he? He invited him round for a meal, and Everett says, never go round to Ronaldo's house for a meal. He says, literally went in, didn't have any food, and he just made me train. So I went home.
Everett's funny. He sings and stuff in his Ferrari. I've seen a few of his pictures.
No, he's hilarious.
I think there's some honourable mentions that we've not took into account.
I was just thinking this,
loads.
Ronaldinho.
Yeah, that whole Brazilian team, that whole
Fat
2002 Brazilian team.
Ronaldo. Yeah, Roberto Carlos.
The thing is,
I love Roberto Carlos.
Actually, but the thing that I think about those, specifically Ronaldo and Ronaldinho, their peaks weren't very long.
Ronaldo had a lot of injuries.
It wasn't necessarily their fault, and even Kaká as well. His peak wasn't.
Kaká's got a good shout.
His peak wasn't very long.
What
either.
happened to him when he got bought by Man City?
Chelsea went to on it.
Was it Chelsea? I thought he went to Man City. Do you know when
Robinho was Man City?
Robinho was Man City. Yeah, because he had failure there, didn't he?
Yeah, he didn't do well.
Because that was the exciting time for City, wasn't it? It was when they got taken over, billionaires. They were going to become the team they've become, and Robinho is one of the first ones.
He was the marquee signing, wasn't he?
50 mil or something daft at the time. That was the most you could get.
Yeah,
and he just completely failed over there, didn't he? I remember watching, had a shocking match. I think he got brought off in 10 minutes or something stupid.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they just said, do you know what, come off. Just give him 20 minutes.
But yeah, that whole 2002 Brazil team, like, they've definitely got a shout for being like the best international side of all time, just because of how dominant they were in that tournament. But yeah, I don't necessarily
Scholesy always gets brought up,
because Rivaldo as well. He was part of that team.
Yeah, he was.
But, yeah, there was. I just don't think they lasted.
I always remember this anecdote from Zidane. You probably heard it, but the interviewer goes to him and says, "What does it feel like being the best player in the world, or on the stage for being the best player in the world?" He says, I don't know, go and ask Scholesy.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And in every player's interview who's ever played against or with Scholesy will always bring him up as one of the greatest.
Xavi, old Barcelona, have said that as well. Like, even the Barca legends.
And you're lucky if you're Messi to have Xavi on your side.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, lads, we've done a good podcast here. You've left me with my brain spinning out more than
we probably missed out
the
loads
last
of people
episode.
as well.
Do you want to name any honourable mentions? Have you got any?
We've done a few, haven't we? I want to name Steven Gerrard because I love Steven Gerrard.
Yeah, of course you do. That cheeky slip though, eh?
Yeah.
That's not a good move.
That was the end of his career. That doesn't count.
Yeah.
We've all had slips.
God, do you feel for that guy on that day?
So I'm glad he's doing what he's doing at Rangers now, because he's looking like they're going to win the title. Doing well in Europe.
Aguero, really.
Aguero's he's done it for years. Definitely. You've got to think about the ones that have done it consistently for years. I wouldn't say these are obviously up there with the best player in the world, but they're in probably the next bracket, and they've done it consistently.
Created the best moment of football history.
Yeah, it was insane.
You've got to give Leicester City their props.
Yeah.
And Vardy, bloody hell.
Yeah.
Well, what he's come through, where he started, flipping heck. That's big. Fleetwood Town.
Yeah, that's the biggest growth, I think, in a player
Yeah.
has got to be Vardy. Just to the level he's got to. Because you saw it with Ricky Lambert, didn't you, for a bit? And he was in the England team and he was doing all right. And he'd done a similar journey, hadn't he?
Yeah,
but he's not done what Vardy's done and consistently done it for years. And still at his pace and everything. He's like 30 odd.
Yeah.
He's got his pace now, right?
God, he scored yesterday, didn't he? I can't remember who they were playing, but I watched the match, watched the highlights. Madison's coming through now. But just seeing Vardy's name always keep cropping up. It's big. It's special, isn't it?
Yeah. Leicester are a great team at the moment.
God, I'll never forget. What game was it when they made Leicester win? Was it Chelsea versus Tottenham?
Yes. Because that's when they were all in his house, weren't they, having a party?
and Tottenham needed to win that game. And they just let a goal in at the near end, and then they're just cropping everybody because Chelsea are basically celebrating that Leicester have won it. And it was such a hard game to watch. But I watched that here with my dad, and I just had this buzz. I knew Leicester were going to win, so I drove down to Leicester from here. Yeah, and I went and celebrated with everyone. It was special, man. That was. I'll never forget that because I didn't know anyone, but I was just running through the streets, and whoever knew you, I got Leicester top. So I was.
They don't care as long as you got Leicester top on.
They were just dragging you up. You'd start a chant, everyone would go. So football's made so many incredible moments, and the players in those seasons, like your Vardy and whoever's helped win the Aguero, it's special. And you've got to count them, but consistently. Messi, Ronaldo are the boys, aren't they? That's 100%. It'd be unfair to dispute them.
They're on a pedestal. They are on their own, aren't they? And
they're just two different players of their time that need to be really accounted for how they play, what position they're in. And I think we've given good arguments on why Ronaldo is such a player and why Messi is.
They're different.
I don't know if it's fair to conclude it as such because it's just impossible.
We've already said our points. It's not up to us, is it, really?
But you're sticking with Messi?
I'm still sticking,
I'm still sticking.
We all Messi?
I'm still sticking with Messi.
So, Messi, if you're watching this, then you're the best and we value you very highly. But Ronaldo, don't be pissed off.
Because Josh still loves you.
Yeah. Okay, is that us, guys? Is that time?
Yeah, it's cool.
Well, guys, thank you. You've been a part of Series of Theories podcast. Give us your ideas of what you want to hear us mention and let us know who the greatest of all time is. Thank you for being here. Big love.
Peace.
Cheers.